Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club, a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. I'm Dee.
And I'm Randa, and together we are the Sake Sisters. For more information, check out our website at www.switchbladesistersocialclub.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Switchblade Sisters Social Club.
Thanks for listening. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Switchblade Sisters Social Club, a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. My name is Dee, and this is my sister, and we are the Sake Sisters.
Hi!
Randa, I forgot to say your name. Randa means flower in Arabic, or it's a kind of flower.
It doesn't flower, I think. Or
It
so
doesn't
we are
flower.
told.
It's a plant. You're a plant. And my name is Deanna. I'm named after my aunt, Deanna.
There's quite a few Deannas in our family. It's
Yeah,
a tradition.
We've got another little Deanna in the family as well. I say little, she's 18, and last time I saw her, we went and got tattooed together. So not so little anymore.
I'm just waiting for the day that people start naming their kids after me in the family.
I ordered our ring grip for the phone, and it's so freaking cool. So the ring turns around, so it works as a stand, and you can obviously put your fingers in. My office is freezing, hence the gloves, but also works very nicely for presenting our ring grip. Yeah.
Should work for QVC with those skills.
It's a hand model. Yeah, it's so cold. It's so cold. Today, the day that we're recording, is the first day that we've had snow.
Like proper snow, like white Christmas snow. And the thing is, everyone's like, oh, we want a white Christmas. And then like half an hour later, everyone starts bitching about how it's inconvenient.
Yeah, and also, because an hour later, it turns into brown sludge. We've got some family members from Brazil coming over for Christmas, and I know that they're hoping for snow because they don't obviously get it in Brazil. They live in the north of Brazil, which is just hot, hot, hot all the time. I think the novelty will wear off really quickly when they realize that snow is cold.
Oh, and walking on that ice is treacherous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I slipped in getting into my car yesterday because the road was icy, and I was just like, oh my God, cars are on this. So yeah, we're freezing, and hence the bundling up and so forth. You look actually toasty and warm. Where's your cushion? Where's your cushion?
Oh, sorry, it's downstairs, but it looks really good in my living room.
It does.
You know, this is the benefit of living with a heating engineer, that, you know, there's no excuse to not have working heating, adequate heating.
That's true. That's true. But yes, our cushion, our merch is so cool.
Do you know what? And I gotta say, the quality is superb.
Yeah, because some of those companies, they're not so great, but everything because we've ordered every part of our merch.
We got hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got cushions, we got bum bags, we got phone ring things.
Yep. So go check it out, because we love our stuff, don't we?
Yeah. Oh,
we're like branded up to the eyeballs. Everyone for Christmas is getting merch. Yeah. And also check out our website, switchbladesistersocialclub.com, where you can find our socials, our information about past episodes, and also information about working with us, because between us, we have a lot of special skills.
We have a certain set of skills. Very useful for podcasters.
Yes. Podcast editing, social media management, copywriting, copy editing, website creation, all that kind of jazz.
The question is, what can we not do? That's a shorter list.
Oh, well, tell me things you're not good at.
People.
Video games.
Video games, yeah.
I'm good at like Mario Kart, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really that into them. I never, since our Atari Lynx days and Game Boy days, you know, I haven't really ventured back into that world.
I have fished out my old Game Boy, and I do plan over the Christmas break to play my Game Boy. I
don't know why they haven't brought back the Atari Lynx.
Atari Lynx was so ahead of its time.
Oh my God, color screen in the early 90s.
Callum, thank you. We bought your Game Boy and your Atari Lynx off of you because you were saving up for a pool table. And it just changed our life.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Atari Lynx, it was just way ahead of its time. Color screen, awesome games.
Do you know what else I have in the house that it's not mine, it's Jim's, is an Amiga.
Oh, fun.
We didn't even have one because that was even before our time.
Yeah, our parents were not very pro video games, so we never had. I remember the first one I got, first like PlayStation I got was when I moved out when I was like 19-ish.
Yeah, we had to go to our friend's house to play.
I know, and then they wanted to talk to us, and we just wanted to play Super Mario. But I think that's why we were just like innately not very good at video games. I do have.
So, Dee, let's be fair. We have a terrible coordination and motor skills.
We do, which I later found out was dyslexia/dyspraxia. This object here is actually an arcade machine, so I can do like easy games, you know, where it's just like very simple.
Yeah, minimal movements and coordination.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I've got like Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, all that kind of stuff on there. I do love it. But yeah, that's us. So we're not good at video games, not particularly good at sports.
No.
Sports ball is also...
I think that falls under bad coordination. You can probably like assume if it involves movement.
Oh my God. Like I remember when you made me come down to do Zumba on the Wii or something.
Oh yeah, we tried. We tried a lot of things and and then we're short-lived. Yeah, because me and Dee used to live in the same apartment block for a good
those were
years.
the days. Those were the days. We lived in the same block of flats, different flats. So it was like close, but not too close.
Yeah, I was on the bottom floor. Dee was on the top floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great.
I missed that.
Yeah, I do too. It was great to be able to go to each other's houses in pajamas.
Yeah, and we did have like a code where you weren't allowed to sort of come unannounced.
Oh, no, hold on. Can I just... Unannounced visits from anyone, whether you... Unpredictable anything, in my book, is not cool. Even if it's something I like, if it's unpredictable and not in the agenda, it's going to ruin my day.
Well, I think lucky for us, English people are too polite to turn up.
No, they're not.
They're not.
I can assure you, they're not.
Who turned up to yours unannounced?
I'm not going to say because I think they probably listened.
Oh, okay. Well, stop doing it, whoever you are.
Have a blanket policy that you should text me. Everyone that knows me knows my phone lives in my hand. Text me first.
It doesn't live in your hand. It lives in your bra.
Well, that's true. That's true. But, you know, an unannounced visit is enough to derail my fucking day, let alone my week, because unpredictability is just very unsettling. I don't like it. I don't like even surprises. You know that I don't like surprises. I gotta know, what are you getting me? You know what I mean? What are you getting me for Christmas or for my birthday? I gotta know, because
I'm really pleased because I gave you an early Christmas present yesterday. Yeah. And I think you actually liked it.
Oh, I did. I was gonna wear it today. Don't know why I didn't. I think it's because white looks good against this background. Do you know what Dee got me? She got me Bailey Sarian's hoodie that says "Suspish," and I fucking love it. I
was so excited. I bought
you did good. And I have to say,
months ago.
It's not... You're a very good person. Presents haven't always been your forte, because what you do is you buy people presents that you love. Do you know what I mean? And I think because your taste and my taste in things is so different, as in, like, my object in life, like my objective in life is to have less. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I thought I would say
for you, less is more.
Because more
is more.
I am a maximalist.
You are, and I'm the opposite. I just would like to have as little as possible. Like, I literally aspire to live in a home that is just furniture. I aspire to have a wardrobe with like 4 pairs of trousers, 2 pairs of shoes. You know, I just want simplicity. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I thought that would be... I was on a safe bet because you fangirl over Bailey Sarian a lot.
And I love her merchandise.
And it's very loungewear-y.
It is, and I do love a bit of loungewear. What I would say is I prefer our merchandise off.
Yes, our merchandise can also be very loungy, but also very outdoorsy. I wear my vest top to the gym, and I haven't had any comments yet, but I would find that weird at the gym.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for the day for someone to come up and be like, "Ooh, what's that?" And I could be like, "Well, It's my podcast.
Mine's been reserved as weekend attire because the only other place I go other than home where I work is the school run. And there's many things I can't wear to the school run. I have this one t-shirt that says, well-behaved women seldom make history. And since behavior has been a topic of conversation that I've regularly had with teachers about what a particular twin.
What about this jumper that I'm wearing? Bitches always do. I don't even know what it means. What does it all? What do bitches always do? I don't know. We do, but we do. We do. I had a fun time because I got so I write for the Pod Bible sometimes, and they asked me to review top 3 podcasts in different categories, and I don't remember the specific categories, and I got to submit my 3. I couldn't submit this one because obviously it launches in the new year and it couldn't be your own podcast, but I recommended Women Who Rebrand, which is a podcast that I do guest on sometimes with Sarita Fontaine, who's just fucking fabulous, like might be the most fabulous person I know in terms of fabulousness. And we've done a couple of really fun episodes on like microdosing, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that 50% of people do not respond to antidepressant medicines, traditional antidepressant medicines, which and that 1/6 of those people go on to kill themselves. Like that is just shocks me.
Sadly, these things don't shock me. Having gone through diagnosis, as autism diagnosis with the kids, being immersed in that world, speaking to adults who were diagnosed later on in life and who were just prescribed antidepressants and, diagnosed with anxiety disorders and even bipolar, which is fucking madness because I don't see how they both relate. So I'm sadly not shocked anymore. I'm so disillusioned with the lack of understanding about a lot of these things. And so sadly, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. Even
sad.
People going through menopause are just prescribed antidepressants rather than, checking their hormone levels. So to be honest, I'm not fucking shocked.
No.
It just confirms what we already know.
Yeah. We know that the NHS is amazing and the people that work in it are phenomenal.
Yes, we are pro NHS, but unfortunately they're being suffocated by this current government. And
I think with the view of wiping it out completely, just making so many cuts that it can't work at all, that it's crippled, and then they could say, look, it doesn't work, let's get rid of it. Which is so sad.
I know something I heard recently was that it's not on its knees, the NHS is now on its face. And
like I had a personal experience about a month ago now, where I had something called, I didn't know at the time, but I got diagnosed with something called costochondritis, which isn't very serious, but it's incredibly painful, where the muscles in between your ribs are inflamed. And when you have a bad case of it, it can feel like you can't breathe because it goes all the way around your rib cage, around on your sternum and everything. So I'd had it for months, this sore pain down the side of my ribs. And then one night it just got so bad, it went all the way around the front and I literally could not breathe. And it's the only time in my life where I was like, I told Paul, call me an ambulance, because I literally thought I was dying. I thought, oh, fuck, maybe it was a broken rib and it's puncturing my lung. That's what I thought had happened. And he called the ambulance, and the only words he managed to get through were, my partner can't breathe. And the ambulance told him, please hold.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
And it's like, luckily, we are in a position of privilege where we just called an Uber. But obviously, lots of people can't do that. They're on their own. They don't have the money to do so, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really sad. They called back. So he had to hang up on them once the Uber arrived. They called him back 45 minutes later to ask if we still needed an ambulance.
Yeah, that's frightening. That's absolutely frightening. Yeah.
It's terrifying, because luckily for me, it wasn't a case of anything serious, and I was able to get an Uber to go to the hospital.
It just makes you want to...
elderly people in rural areas, people that don't have the ability to call an Uber, all of those kind of things.
It just makes you want to brush up on all your first aid skills. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember we did first aid training.
Children's first aid, yeah.
Yeah, we did first aid training after the twins were born.
And I used to work with St. John. I've done first aid training so many times, and like, luckily, touch wood, I've never had to put it in practice, but I don't know whether I could. I don't know whether I'd remember any part of it.
Well, I know. That's it. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
The will would be there.
Mm.
But, yeah, so it's just terrifying. It's just absolutely terrifying. Right. So the microdosing episode was super interesting because this woman, I didn't realize that when you train as a therapist in the States, it's for that state alone. And this lady had moved to Breonna Morse, sorry. She'd moved to another state, and her training, she applied to get it transferred to this new state, but because the modules at her uni were slightly different to the ones that they have at that state's university to train, she wasn't eligible to work as a therapist in this new state that she moved to, which is like, we need more therapists. Why are you stopping trained ones working? So she went down the route of microdosing and working as a mindset coach. And she had people, like, her results were amazing. 2 years on, not on medicine anymore, not on antidepressants. And antidepressants, I'm on citalopram, and I do counseling, and I think everyone should check to see what their situation is. Counseling's amazing. And there's no shame in getting medicine for, if you've got a problem that a simple pill a day can fix, then hooray. But she was saying that these people that she's microdosing with, they're not just feeling okay, they're feeling better than they ever have. Which is, I believe it. Wow. So yeah, that in particular was a really interesting episode, but we've done ones on like internet romance scammers and all kinds of fun stuff. Then the other podcast episode I recommended was called Deep Dive Palestine. As you know, we're Palestinian. And I recommended one with a guy called Andrew Whitley, who is the chair of one of the charities I work with called the Balfour Project. And that episode specifically talks about Britain's historic responsibility in the region. So if you are wondering why people in Britain should even care about what's going on in Israel-Palestine, then that's a really good episode to brush up on. And then the third episode, the third podcast is, I don't remember. Oh, Heidi World.
What's that?
And that was the whole reason why I mentioned this in the first place, because I wanted to recommend it specifically to you. Heidi World is about Heidi Fleiss. Do you remember her? Hollywood.
The Madam. Yeah, Madam. Right? Yeah.
So it's a whole season about her, and I have to admit, I'm only halfway through it, but it's so engrossing.
Okay, I'll check it out. I will listen to it on the school run today.
I recommend it. It's, because she was around in the 90s, early 2000s. She was a madam, and there was a whole bunch of scandals linked to her. She obviously has worked with a bunch of famous people. Yeah. So it's really good. It's
I remember reading about her.
So yeah, those are the three podcasts I recommended. So check out the Pod Bible. If you haven't before, there's loads of reviews of different podcasts. It's the only hard copy magazine about podcasts. Just hard to believe in the UK.
Yeah.
Comes out with the Sunday Times, if you get that. All right. Do you want to get started? We've chit-chatted.
Yes. Okay.
I know you don't like when the chit-chat goes on too long, so.
I can do small talk with you because I'm interested in you.
Oh, thanks.
But generally, it's not my favorite thing. I prefer big talk. So, okay, you actually suggested this topic to me. And I'm going to start the story. What?
I just realized that this is like, I'm so excited because this is only my second time of having someone announce the topic to me.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. I like it too.
Sorry.
I like it. But look, I don't know how much of a surprise it's going to be because you did suggest it to me. I'm just hoping you forgot.
Yeah, but I suggested like 400 million topics to you.
Yeah. So I'm going to start the story and then, sorry to yawn. Wow.
Paul, edit that out.
Oh, that's an announcement we need to make.
We made it already. Remember, I told you on the podcast that Paul was going to be our podcast editor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Paul, we've got a new Switchblade sister.
Oh my God, I can't even tell you. Can't even tell you how relieved I am about that. Sorry, took some codeine, got sleepy. Okay. Sorry. I'll stop yawning. It's contagious. Okay, apparently we're not psychos. When you're
Okay,
not.
cool. Oh,
You're
well,
not. Because
you might
yawn.
still.
Because apparently, if you yawn when someone yawns around you, you're not a psychopath.
Nice.
I learned that in Luther.
Oh, well, then it must be true.
Do you remember his redheaded girlfriend? I liked her. She was so funny.
She was so good.
He was trying to work out whether she was a psychopath, so he yawned in front of her to see if she was like empathetic. And she,
Was she
I don't
the
know
one
what,
that potentially killed her parents?
Yeah, I don't know what empathy has to do with yawning.
I don't know. I think it's because psychopaths are so distant from human emotion that they don't. I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe it. Someone tell us if this is true or not, because I feel like that's more of a physical response rather than an emotional.
Yeah, I don't know. And I never really understood why people yawn when somebody else does, but you do.
Mm.
Okay,
so
I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to start, and then you tell me when you guess who it is, which you'll guess pretty soon. Okay, so it's March 31st, 1995, in Corpus Christi, Texas, on Friday morning at the Days Inn Hotel. Just before noon, a young woman burst through the doors covered in blood, saying she'd been shot.
Selena!
Ah, that was quick. Yeah, Selena. Okay, so Selena was a Mexican-American singer. She was born in 1971. She died in 1995. And
so young.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy actually. 23 is literally just out of your teenage years. And she was actually, Jennifer Lopez actually played her in a film of the same name.
Did you watch the film?
No, but I wanted to, but I had to pay to watch it. Cut this out. I didn't watch it. I checked that yesterday.
No, I know you did. I know you did your research. Okay, I'll tell you what.
What?
My Christmas gift to you will be that I pay for it for you and we watch it together.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen it since it must have first come out.
It's often come with, but you have to spend time with me to get it.
You don't have to. I'll just give you my.
I just don't know when we're going to do that. Okay, cool. Okay. We'll have a watch party online. Okay, so, yeah, so she was a Mexican American singer. And she sang songs. I don't know if you've heard of Tejano music, which is sort of Latin American, Mexican pop. They say there's country influence. I don't hear that so much, but yeah, it's nice. It's cool. So she ran into the Days Inn Hotel, and she was she'd been shot. She was covered in blood. She was panicking and said someone was coming after her to finish her off. She was covered in blood all the way from her neck down to her knees, and she collapses on the lobby floor, and the hotel staff call the police and an ambulance. The receptionist then realized who she was. She was 23-year-old Selena. This is a great name. Selena Quintanilla Perez. It's a good name, huh? It was the queen of Tejano music. The receptionist keeps trying to keep her conscious and asking her who shot her. But before she passes out, she manages to say the name of who it was and the room number, hotel room number. And it was Yolanda Saldivar, who was her #1 fan and the president of her fan club and her business partner. So Selena was an emerging... Are you recording? Wait, yeah, we are. Okay, so I just want to check. Selena was an emerging star who was on the cusp of superstardom, and she began being known as the Mexican Madonna. So Yolanda Saldivar, her killer, was born in San Antonio, Texas in 1960. She's a little bit older. And she was from a humble background and was actually a qualified nurse who also had a knack for business. Selena, as I said, she was born in 1971, and she began singing when she was 3 years old. Her dad was a musician himself, and he encouraged his kids to be musical and successful. And he actually owned a restaurant called Papagayos, but then there was some sort of recession to do with oil demand, and his business went bust. But his 3 kids, he had 3 kids called AB and Selena and...
Sorry, he had 3 kids called AB?
Yeah, one was called AB. He's also called Abraham.
Oh, right.
And then her sister, I think the sister's name was Suzette. Can I just Google that? Sorry.
Oh, I love this story. I mean, I hate this story.
Yeah, Suzette. Okay. So Selena had two siblings, a brother called AB and a sister called Suzette, and they would be the band at the restaurant. And so they were performing loads of gigs at the restaurant. So the school actually you were very concerned about the amount of gigs that these kids were playing. But the restaurant went bust because of the recession. So they actually bought, like this broken down old tour bus, and they just, parents took them out of school and they just went touring, and they were selling gigs all over the place. So by the time Selena was 9, she was already booking loads of gigs. Her brother played bass and her sister played the drums, and their dad, Abraham, was their agent.
And they were singing in Spanish?
Yeah, so they sang in Spanish, but apparently Selena didn't speak conversational Spanish, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because I heard that she had to learn everything phonetically.
Yeah, which I find interesting, just because you kind of assume when you're involved in the community that, like, it's inevitable,
Well, we're involved in the Palestinian community, and our Arabic is shit.
Yeah, but we learned it, and, we did learn it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Especially because she has both Spanish-speaking parents. But anyway, whatever. She was brought up in the States. So by the time Selena was in the 8th grade, her dad took them out of school because they were playing and being booked for so many gigs. So back to Yolanda. Yolanda was 30 when she first saw Selena playing a concert, and she was completely mesmerized by her. She ended up becoming a groupie and going to every single concert. Already, I would be
red flag. Yeah. Red flag.
Exactly. Yeah. So Yolanda, being business savvy, as I mentioned, wanted to start an official Selena fan club, but needed Abraham's permission as the manager. Yolanda was very convincing and managed to convince him that it would be great for Selena's marketing. And she became the president of the fan club, sending out newsletters, selling merchandise at the shows, which gave her direct access to Selena. And she even became upgraded to Selena's personal assistant. And really
Can we just have a note on what fan clubs meant back in this day? Because you remember, you used to have like these fan clubs. You used to have to send in your check of your annual membership,
yeah.
And then you'd get like a pin badge, and then you get like newsletters in the post and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I signed up to Johnny Depp's fan club.
Did you?
Yeah, or I wrote to them once.
Yeah, I don't know whether I ever did. But yeah, very different to what's the equivalent nowadays? I guess just following them on Instagram, right?
Yeah, because you couldn't Google them. Do you know what I mean? This is the only way you watch MTV.
You didn't have websites. Exactly.
No, you had MTV or fan clubs if you wanted to know anything about your artists. Mm-hmm. So Selena and Yolanda became great friends, and they spent a lot of time together. And Selena then married Chris Perez, who was the band's guitarist in 1992. But this was controversial with her dad. Her dad tried to end the relationship several times. He even called Chris a cancer in the family. So Selena and Chris eloped and got married, and eventually their dad gave them his blessing and welcomed him into the family. I guess
what could he do?
What are you going to do at that stage? Anyway, so in 1994, Selena caught the attention of the American market because she won a Grammy, and she got signed to EMI, the EMI label. Even though Sony offered more money, she chose to go with EMI, the Latin American division. And Yolanda convinced Selena to start her own clothing line. So they opened boutiques in Corpus Christi and San Antonio in Texas, based on her stage costumes. And the clothes were made in Mexico, and Yolanda was overseeing the process. In the meantime, Selena was working on writing and launching an English language album. So fast forward to March 31st at the Days Inn Hotel. The police and ambulance came after Selena was shot, and the main artery had actually been severed by the gunshot, the one that runs from your heart to your right arm. So the blood was pumping out fast, and she was losing so much blood. She was rushed to hospital, but sadly she lost consciousness and bled to death. And her last words were Yolanda Saldivar. When the hotel staff asked her who did this. So the police then managed to catch Yolanda trying to flee from the hotel. She was already in her pickup truck in the car park. and she denies being responsible. So the police refused to let her leave and find that she was armed and held her gun. And she was armed and she was holding her gun up to her head. This is Yolanda. The police backed up but surrounded her pickup truck so she couldn't leave. And they had a tense 9.5-hour standoff. Yeah. So
Whoa.
for 9.5 hours. So by this point,
she's in her pickup truck for 9.5 hours.
And the police had completely surrounded her. I saw footage of this. And TV news channels, more and more cameras arrived, local news outlets and music channels. They were literally all there at the stand of 9.5 hours.
And at some point during that time, they must have learned that Selena had passed away. Yeah.
So they even brought in a hostage negotiator at this stage. But yeah, reporters and cameras were setting up outside the police perimeter. It was becoming a big show. So this was described as the Latin community's version of the O.J. Simpson case. So negotiators called Yolanda's mobile to try to talk her down. She started saying what sounded like a confession, that she hurt her friend. She was saying how they were like sisters, that she loved Selena. They didn't want to tell her during this tense standoff that Selena was dead.
Oh, so she didn't know?
No, not yet. And one of the negotiators tried to elicit a confession from Yolanda by saying it could have been an accident. So Yolanda then blames the accident on Abraham, Selena's dad. She was accusing him because they didn't get along and he wanted Yolanda to be fired. So this standoff / negotiation lasted hours, and the negotiators began wearing her down and convincing her to surrender. And you can imagine, like, she had her gun to the head apparently the whole time, threatening to kill herself. Can you imagine, like, 9.5 hours? She would have been tired.
Oh, she would have got more and more and more irrational as that time went on.
You can just imagine, like, all the different emotions that would have happened in those 9.5 hours. Do you know what I mean? And like negotiators, I know it's like it's an art and a science to, like, there's a lot of psychology involved in negotiations. Do you know what I mean? And trying to get the response that you want. So they try to wear her down. She finally relented, put the gun down, and stepped out of the pickup truck. They still hadn't told her at this point. Yeah, because they were worried about telling her that Selena had died in case she would have shot herself.
Yeah.
Or other people. I don't know. I doubt other people, but you know.
Well, it wouldn't have calmed her down further, would it?
Yeah.
It would have only aggravated her or upset her further.
Yeah. So the police then tackled her and cuffed her and told her that Selena was dead. Yolanda screamed in pain, apparently devastated about what she had done. And the whole Hispanic community were devastated on both sides of the border. Mourners descended upon Corpus Christi for a huge vigil outside Selena's house. Investigators spoke to Selena's family, and Abraham said he was suspicious of Yolanda from day one. But apparently, Yolanda wouldn't give up, so he allowed her to start the fan club. But he quickly realized his instinct was right. He didn't like the control Yolanda had over Selena. And Yolanda would even control who Selena saw, including family.
I mean, it sounds like right from the start, it was single white female. Yeah, exactly. Abraham shared his concerns with Selena, but she didn't take it seriously at the time. And in 1994, his suspicions were sort of piqued again because loads of fans were complaining to him that they had bought merchandise and were not receiving it because Yolanda was pocketing the money herself. So they'd signed up to the fan club and they weren't receiving what they paid for. And Abraham then looked into the financial club, the fan club's financial records. Money was missing. And you know how Yolanda opened up the boutiques with Selena? Apparently she embezzled $30,000. Yeah. I didn't realize she was embezzling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought she was just properly obsessed with Selena and would never...
Well, this is it. This is the thing. You know, I keep reading reports that she was obsessed with her, but then at the same time I'm thinking, but was this just financially driven? You know, did she want control over Selena because she wanted to control the finances and the business decisions that were made and not have people come too close and ask questions about where the money was going? So I don't know.
It must have been a bit of both.
Yeah, either it was a bit of both, a single white female obsession and greed, a sinister greed. Either it was a bit of both or it was one or the other.
Can we just, you know how we always talk about amazing 90s films, and I think it comes into Single White Female.
Oh, that was a great film. I mean, there's nothing quite like it since. And the other one with the bunny boiler?
Fatal Attraction?
Yeah. There's not been films that good or like that since, I don't think.
I don't know. I don't think so.
The Single White Female. I mean, that term should be in psychology textbooks.
I mean, we're using it like it's a proper diagnosis.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Or like a verb. Oh, yeah. She single white femaled her.
Yeah. Selena then starts to take Abraham's concerns seriously when fans aren't receiving their goods, when the $30,000 goes missing. They go to confront her. And this is the first time Selena didn't stick up for Yolanda. Abraham says that tells Yolanda he wants to prosecute her for theft unless she produces records of where this money has gone. But there was a complicating issue there, which was the fashion business, the boutique business. Yolanda was the keeper of lots of financial documents relating to the business that Selena needed to regain control over her business. So Yolanda had a lot of financial control, you know?
She was holding their business hostage, basically.
Yeah. So Yolanda refused to turn over the documents. And so on the morning of March 31st, Selena drove over to meet Yolanda to get her documents and to cut ties. That was the morning that she was shot. So according to Yolanda's statement, in the heat of the moment, she pulled out a gun. She said she didn't intend to shoot Selena, but only got the gun out to force Selena to leave. Yolanda claims that the gun accidentally went off, but when it went to court, the prosecutor stated that Yolanda loved the power she had being in Selena's inner circle more than the love for Selena herself.
But you know how to stop a gun going off accidentally? Not having a gun in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you don't... Yeah, exactly. I mean... I don't buy the story.
I don't. We hear it so many times. Oh, I didn't actually mean to shoot the gun. Well, sorry, you brought a gun, you pulled the gun out.
Yeah.
You were halfway there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if the full intent wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't see that a gun has any place in an argument with some... Exactly, yeah. There's ways you can threaten someone in business without having to wield a gun, you know, at them. So anyway, Yolanda was desperate not to be fired, and she was begging Selena to reconsider. So it was too much for Yolanda to bear, being fired and being cut out of Selena's world. So she shot Selena in the back.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So Yolanda
I get that she was probably feeling like her whole world was ending. Her social circle, her status, her prestige as the fan club president and business partner, her friendship with Selena.
And even just that would have earned a lot of media attention, aside from the shooting. If she'd have been fired, that would have been
a big hoo-ha.
Yeah. So Yolanda claimed...
Still no reason to shoot her.
No. So Yolanda claimed she didn't mean to shoot Selena, but why didn't she call an ambulance or use her medical training to save Selena? Because she was a nurse, you know? Yolanda did follow Selena outside the room, and there were witnesses to this. So housekeeping staff were busy cleaning the rooms, and although they hadn't seen the shooting, they witnessed the chaotic aftermath and Selena running for the lobby, leaving a trail of blood, screaming and crying. Honestly, this I find like the most chilling. Can you imagine being shot? Like, you are shot. You've been shot. You're bleeding to death, you know? And she was still able to run and
only hope that means that she was having a massive adrenaline rush, because you know how you hear sometimes of people being shot and not realizing at first because of the adrenaline. So I only hope that means that she wasn't feeling the pain and that she just slipped under. I find this whole part of the story chilling, you know? So she left a trail of blood and was screaming and crying, running towards the lobby. So Yolanda followed her out and then what, just stopped as Selena ran away?
Well, I'll tell you some more chilling facts. The janitor gave a shocking witness statement stating that instead of Yolanda dropping the gun after apparently accidentally shooting her friend, she raised the gun again, pointing the pistol at the fleeing Selena, who luckily ran around the corner. So even after she shot her once and Selena was running away.
By accident, in quotation marks.
She tried to shoot her again.
Right.
So not only did Yolanda not try to save her friend, she tried to finish her off a second time. One of the most damning testimonies was from a hotel housekeeper who said that she heard Yolanda yelling out "bitch" while pointing the gun at Selena, who was fleeing. So in court, the defense twisted the story and claimed that Yolanda had meant to kill herself after Selena fired her. Apparently, Selena convinced Yolanda not to kill herself, so Yolanda lowered her gun, and they managed to reconcile before the apparent accident happened and the gun went off. Like, it's my understanding, I've only ever used a gun in at fun fairs and stuff, but that, with a real gun, you don't just pull the trigger, you got to do something first, right?
Yeah, you normally have to pull the safety catch. But also, you know, if you're supposed to know about gun safety if you have a gun. I don't know if you're going to tell us if she had this gun legally or not or whatever. But, like, it means that the safety would have to be off. At some point, she's pulled the safety off and she's aiming the gun at her friend's back. Pointing it at her friend's, you know, and if you have a gun, like, you make sure not to wave it around.
Yeah, I'm always surprised at the accidental shootings, you know? Okay, so...
I mean, she's not a toddler who's found her parents' gun, which sadly happens far too often. Do you know what I mean? She is like a grown adult with a nursing background. She would have seen gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
You know not to wave it around willy-nilly. So I just find it really hard to believe that she was accidentally pointing the gun in the direction of her friend's back and it accidentally went off.
So, on October 23rd, 1995, the same year, this was almost 6 months after Selena was shot, in a Houston courthouse, the verdict was reached. The defense maintained it was an accident, and the prosecution maintained that Yolanda killed Selena in cold blood. Luckily, the jury found Yolanda guilty of first-degree murder. Her defense team were stunned, but the crowd outside the courthouse erupted in celebration and started playing Selena's music.
Her defense team were stunned? Can't have been that much of a shock. Like, they must have known that there's a high chance she's going to get convicted, regardless of how much they believe her story.
I mean, the witness statements alone, you know, the janitor and the housekeeper. And the fact that Selena, before she died, said Yolanda had shot her. So, in a very
is there anything that she would benefit from for saying that Yolanda shot her? Do you know what I mean? Like, assuming, bless her, she thought she was going to survive. Is there anything she would get from telling people that it was Yolanda? No, right?
I know. I mean, they had, you know, obviously this disagreement about business. Well, not a disagreement. I mean, Yolanda had stolen money from the business. But yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, when you've been shot and you're in that state,
you're not thinking motives and whatnot.
Exactly. I don't think you'd be in a place to think about convoluting stories and things like that, would you?
Yeah.
So in a strange and sad twist, Selena's English language song was released and became a huge success. And that's kind of what... I don't know what it's called, Dee. Cut this out, Paul. Stop asking me questions.
Hey, Google, what is Selena's English language song?
Songs frequently mentioned on the web include Dreaming of You, I Could Fall in Love, My Love, and others.
I don't know.
There you go. One of those. It became a huge success because that's what she'd wanted all along. She'd wanted to release an English language album right from the start, but her record company said she didn't have a big enough fan base at that point. And it was
I have no doubt if she had managed to release that album in her lifetime that she would have literally been the Hispanic Madonna.
Yeah. I would have loved to see where that went.
I know. That's the sad thing. I mean, obviously sad when anyone young dies, but the fact that we all would have followed her career and seen what her activities so publicly, and she was clearly like a very special star.
Yeah, and what's sad is that she'd wanted from the start of her career to release an English language album. But yeah, like I said, her record company said she didn't have a big enough fan base yet at the start of her career, whereas the time when she died, she did, you know. So she became an even bigger star after her death. And Jennifer Lopez even played Selena in a movie about her life. There's a Netflix series about her. I think there's 2 seasons of it, about her life. And
You know what's so funny? You know, I'm rewatching or watching in order the Superstore on Netflix, and because I'm a bit obsessed at the moment with True Crime and Cocktails, which has the actress who plays Tina. But there was a Halloween episode that I watched literally yesterday where Amy, who's America Ferrera, you know, Ugly Betty.
Oh yeah, I like
phenomenal. Her. Yeah, she's so good, and she's so good in the season. But for Halloween, she's dressed up as Selena.
Oh yeah. So back to Yolanda. She'll be eligible for parole in 2025.
Oh my God, that's
when I know.
Freaky. Eligible for parole. Okay, but that doesn't mean she'll get out.
So she'll be 65 years old then. Selena's family runs a museum dedicated to Selena's life and work. And yeah, you know, like we've seen in a lot of the cases, it's often people closest who are the killers, you know, and this is one such case. And
the stat of the season is that 1% of murders are committed by serial killers, and the majority of the rest of them are people that you know.
Yeah, and this is one of those cases, and it's chilling and terrifying, actually, that somebody who is in your inner circle, who allegedly loves you, is capable of that. And you know what? I don't want to end on this, so you're going to have to talk about something else after. But you know, that bloody bastard, Howard Stern, who seems to crop up.
Oh, we should do an episode just on him, but I'm worried it'll make me just too angry.
Do you know, and also I just don't believe he deserves any airtime, but he actually got in trouble with the law because a couple of days after Selena was killed, he was playing her songs with gunshots in the background and was really insensitive.
My God.
Yeah. You know, saying that, mocking her mourners, saying they have terrible taste in music. I mean, who does that? It's a death. Do you know what I mean? Like, make fun of somebody's music is one thing. It's dumb.
And not like a natural death in old age. She was murdered at age 23.
And I think
she had 4 or 5 years as an adult.
Yeah.
That's how long her adult life was. She could only drink alcohol in the States for 2 years. Like, she was a baby.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel annoyed at myself for even bringing up Howard Stern because I don't believe he deserves any.
No, but also, I get it. But then also, we need to remind people that these people are terrible, scum of the earth.
Is he still operational? I haven't heard from him for a while.
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's hope not. That's a guy who should be fucking canceled. You know, when people say, oh, everyone's just so sensitive these days, cancel culture, woke, blah, blah, blah. I mean...
Yeah, well, it's because for too long, we had people like Howard Stern allowed to operate for too long and normalizing this horrible behavior. And look, we are totally okay with dark humor and with inappropriate jokes. We make a lot of them.
But there's a moral line that we don't
next
cross.
Level.
Yeah.
We probably cross it by accident or whatever, but when someone is purposely out there seeking that line to cross it purposely to only be famous for being offensive, but in just the worst racist, misogynistic, horrible way, time and time again.
Another one of those is Perez Hilton, but he seems to have calmed down now because he's trying to make himself relevant again. And
I want to blame a lot of the Perez Hilton stuff on his age because he was quite young when he was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me trying to look for the best in people. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You know, there was a lot of people like that in the media. And people were very happy to consume those sort of media
also, I remember
reports.
watching Perez Hilton, little bits of him in Celebrity Big Brother. And I think he has a kid.
Does now, maybe.
And I kind of feel, because he talked about his kid a lot, I kind of feel like maybe that gave him a bit of perspective and wanting to be a bit of a better person.
Yeah.
So
he's made some apologies, but you know, when you've got like
I want to applaud growth, okay? Because if someone makes mistakes and is a dick, that doesn't mean that they have to do that for the rest of their life. And then if they make the conscious choice to be a better person, then that is great. But Howard Stern had none of that, I don't think.
No. So I mean,
you're right. We don't want to end on Howard Stern.
No, something nice.
Well, I'm going to tell you something funny because we've got we always record 2 episodes in one day.
Yeah,
and so we're going to go off and record my next episode. It seems I think a trend will be your episodes being like half the length of my episode.
Yeah, should I tell you why? Because from D, you get cutting edge, hard hitting investigative journalism. From me, moi, you get some regurgitated shit I found online with my own spin on it. But I'm doing my best. And for our listeners, I'd like to explain that really I have one spare hour a day between kids and work. I've got 2 6-year-old twins. I drive 60 miles a day for their school.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't do it at all, clearly. Everything is done by halves.
No, but I don't want you to downplay your episodes because they're phenomenal. And I'm so glad you covered Selena because now I have an excuse to watch the film with you. Ha ha. Ha ha. But there's also quite a few different things that came in this episode that will pop up again in mine. And I wanted to say, that's like in mine, but I didn't want to spoil too much about my episode.
Can't wait. I can't wait. Do you know what? I'm saving like my best 2 for last.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
Do you know what's funny?
For you.
Totally different ways of working. As our listeners know, we've got our mum as also a Switchblade sister. We call her our podcast manager, but she basically holds the list of the podcast episodes to make sure that we don't both pick the same case.
This is the only surprise that I like.
Yeah, you like this surprise.
Do you know what? That's the only surprise that I like. It's actually, I've just realized I hate surprises, but the only surprise I like is the reveal.
Oh, well, I actually have no idea what case I'm doing next, whereas you've done all of your research for the upcoming season.
Yeah.
So I thought I knew.
But I tell you what, I'll be honest, it's probably because I spent as much time researching the whole season as you probably did for one episode.
No, I don't want you to downplay your work.
No, but you know.
No, because then people will start skipping your episodes.
Transparency. I'm all about transparency, you know?
No, but I mean, to be honest, watching the documentaries, reading the books, it's all what I do anyways. So the only difference is that now I take notes on it.
Yeah, true.
But this week I did not have time to type up my notes. So I'm going to be reading from my notebook, and I'm super excited because, you know, when we decided to do this podcast,
you write your notes down.
Yeah, so this is my...
And then you type them?
Yeah,
but do that? That's 2 stages.
Well, I've been experimenting with
Otter.ai,
so I can just read my notes out. But
that's good.
This next episode, I'm going to be reading from my notes, which you can see are like pigeon scratches. So that should be interesting for us.
Do you know what? Mavis Beacon, all that typing training we had at school, that's coming in so useful for podcast research. I've never had to type so fast in my life as when you're watching a documentary. You don't want to keep stopping and starting.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
My word to minute ratio has fucking gone through the roof.
Yes. Yes, the brown fox jumping over the whatever bullshit. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up because I really want to start the next episode.
Okay, good. Now we're going to go have a snack.
Have a snack, pee break, stuff like that, and then meet back here to record the next episode. Bye!
Mwah! Bye! Hey there! Thanks for being a loyal listener.
Do you need a new website or want to boost your social media performance? Or do you hate podcast editing? You've tried optimizing your website and social media channels, but you're still not getting the listeners, downloads, and engagement you want?
We, the Safie sisters, love helping people with tasks that they hate. We know a thing or two about podcasts, websites, and social media, and we love working with other podcasters and business owners.
So why not head over to switchbladesisterssocialclub.com and go to our Work With Us section. We believe in collaboration over competition. A rising tide raises all ships.
Bye!